Of all the maps in Battlefield, St. Quentin Scar is probably the one that most closely resembles all of the History Channel documentaries we've ever watched about World War I. Brutal trench-style warfare set against a backdrop of picturesque French towns makes for some truly arresting scenery and really reminds us just how good a job Battlefield 1 does of capturing the essence of the Great War. In-game and on the battlefield, St. Quentin Scar is perhaps one of the more challenging maps because of the way that it asks players to adopt so many different playstyles at once if they're going to be truly effective. So in this video, I want to give you just a few quick tips on how to properly play St. Quentin Scar so that you feel a little bit more comfortable when you're in the thick of the action. So let's take a look at the map firstly so we get our bearings. The most important thing to know about St. Quentin Scar is the topography of the map, which is the way the different elevations change across different points. You'll notice that the furthest east and west points A and F are very, very high, and everything sort of cascades down towards B, C, E, and D. St. Quentin Scar is very much a valley, and as you get further and further away from your starting points, you're going to go down lower and lower. So why is this important? Well, this map is a scout's dream. There are so many opportunities that keen snipers have to maintain these elevated positions and simply snipe away for the entire map should they choose to do it. For newer players who are looking to learn how to snipe, I would really recommend trying on St. Quentin Scar. In particular, point B, which is the Abbey, and point F, which is Roncanet Farm, are both fantastic locations. Great elevation, plenty of cover, really awesome spots for you to be able to look down into the central valley and snipe your targets. So the single best advice I can give you for St. Quentin Scar is when you're about to spawn in, think about the elevation of your spawn point. If you're at points A, B, C, or F, think very strongly about taking a scout class and try and snipe down into the valley, down into points C, E, and B. You are going to be very effective in those moments. If, however, you are spawning in the valley itself, I'd very strongly recommend something like a medic, assault, or support class. Having a sniper rifle in your hand is not particularly useful when you are ducking and weaving in between buildings. So that's sniping. Long story short, do it. It's really good on St. Quentin Scar. Now let's look at a few tips and tricks for each of the individual capture points. At point A, which is Venture Farm, closest to the east side spawn, you're probably not going to be doing a lot of fighting up here. There are trenches in behind this space. If you find yourself fighting this one out, try and get into those trenches as they give you really awesome cover. And there's also a windmill there as well, which actually provides you a lot of cover if you want to take that position up and rain down hell from above. If you're on the east side, you'll defend this one easily, and if you're on the west side, you're really going to struggle to take that one, so don't aim for it too aggressively. Aim to keep the fighting towards the middle of the map. At point B, which is the Abbey, this one is very, very tricky. You'll notice plenty of rocks from the collapsed Abbey, making it very hard to spot people as you go into the Abbey itself when you're trying to capture the point. More difficult though is there's actually a fair amount of space around the outside of the Abbey. Snipers love to set themselves up there, and so do vehicles as well. Vehicles love to park themselves off into the distance and just start raining shells into there. So make sure that when you're trying to take the Abbey, you're inside, you're tucked away, you've got your back to a wall, and you are not exposed to the outside, because people will love to take as many pot shots at you as possible. Point C, which is these sunken roads, is a bit of a funny one. It's a bit of no man's land, really. There's not a huge amount of fighting up here, but when you do get up there, there's plenty of buildings and rubble for you to crawl through, so just make sure you use those intelligently. In particular, try and use the second floor of various buildings if they're still standing. You're going to be able to get the jump on the enemy more often than not. Point D is very similar to the Abbey in that there's a very large exposed area to the south, making it very easy for things like snipers and tanks to take pot shots at you while you're trying to cap. It's also where the enemy is most likely to spawn if they still hold point D and they're trying to capture it, so make sure you keep your eyes faced out towards that area. That is more than likely where the threat is going to be coming from. Other than that, use as much cover as you can and try and lock it down down. Point E, which is Baker's Meadow, is by far and away the most difficult point to hold, and it will change hands many times during the match. Point F, which is above it, provides a perfect line of sight down into there, so you can definitely expect to be shelled and sniped very regularly. Similarly, points D and C provide a spawning zone for enemies, so you can definitely expect them to be coming from both of those locations as well. So my pro tip here is that there's actually a windmill just south of E that is in fact the highest building in the entire map. It provides you with an awesome vantage point to be able to lock down and secure point E while everyone else madly dashes around beneath you. Try and hold that point as much as you can, but don't get too comfy because eventually someone is going to spot you and they are going to take you out. Coming back to something I spoke about a little bit earlier, those of you that really enjoy playing with tanks will love this map, and my strong advice to you is to actually never go anywhere near the points when you're in a tank. I know that's a bit counterintuitive, but you're actually far more useful sitting around the outside of the map in the open and exposed areas and shooting in towards the points rather than sitting on top of them. You are very easy fodder for assault classes while you're sitting on point, because all they need to do is hide in a building and start hurling grenades at you. If, however, you're sitting out in a field providing suppressive fire while your teammates are capping the point, you are very hard to kill, and it's very high risk for any assault class to get up close and personal with you. Believe me, I have tried. Guys, if you like this video, you'll find plenty more of them over on my channel, which is Skill Up. You can see my logo there on screen. Check me out when you get a chance, but for now, guys, thanks for watching, take good care, and I'll see you on the battlefield. Bye-bye.